Flames Nation, long time no see. We are so glad to be back. Richie Longshot's here, joined with the man, the myth, the legend, all things A Sea of Red, founder of A Sea of Red, John Manson. John, how we living this Tuesday night?
It is Tuesday night. How you doing, Rich? You got a different backdrop there. Everything good?
I know. Everything's great. I'm live from my childhood bedroom tonight. There are some severe storms in South Jersey. And to be honest, if a tree is going to come barreling through my house, I don't want it to wake me up. I want to just swing by on my way to work tomorrow and go, I'm going to have to make a phone call for that later on today. So the wife, the blind dog, and we are at my parents' house. I'm in my childhood bedroom. I was fiddling around with some trading cards before the show started. But as always, as I was on January 1st at the Fiesta Bowl, I'm just happy to be here. Happy to be here,
and you got your Vrbo Fiesta Bowl sweatshirt looking nice.
You know how much you charged for this, John?
I'm sure it was preposterous.
This was a big weekend, and if you've never been to a bowl game, we always say go, no matter where it is. You know, I've been to the last two. It is such a great atmosphere. It's a great environment. We're going to get into it, but it's one of those situations where you just swipe the card and worry about it later. And I swiped the card. Do you want a receipt? I'm like, no. Why would I want a receipt? And I was looking back, and I'm like, all right, hotel, Boondocks, Barstool Bar, State Farm Stadium. And I went, what's this $130 charge? This doesn't. And I went, oh, that's right. I bought this sweatshirt. It's nice. And then I bought one of those foam chains that children wear, which I proceeded to give to Mike Schlittler.
And you'll never see it again.
I'm never going to see that chain again. I don't think he still has the chain. I imagine he gave it to someone. But that just kind of sums up bowl life. It is what it is. The money, it's money. You get more every 2 weeks if you're in the right field, and it is what it is. But John, give us your thoughts. What happened in Scottsdale?
Well, Scottsdale was fun. Glendale wasn't as fun.
No,
but we had a good time. It was a good trip out there, and my wife and kids and we got out there. I forget what was it, Thursday night? I think we got there late. We landed about midnight local time, and went straight to the hotel and went to bed. And then we had a full weekend: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right into Monday, and it was so much fun. Stayed there in Scottsdale, and you joined Saturday, and some of the rest of the crew kept on filtering in throughout the weekend, and went to the pep rally, got some media events logged in, and one thing I want to say, and I think I've said it before, and when I guess it was Friday, right outside the State Farm Stadium, when we did kind of that live hit, you and I talked about just the hospitality of the Fiesta Bowl staff, and man, they just blew me away. And I'm sure any interactions you had with them as well, and any other Liberty fans as well, it was just amazing. Their hospitality was second to none, and like you said, bowl trips are wonderful. It's all about the experience. It's so much fun, and really the game, even in the Fiesta Bowl, the game is I hate to say it's an afterthought, because it's not an afterthought. You're leading up to it. Everything's leading up to the game and everything. But despite what happens in that game, you still have a blast, and you make friends that, for people you never met before, the friends that you do kind of, maybe know a little bit, you get to know them even better. And it's so much fun. It was a blast hanging out there with you and so many others. It was a lot of fun to see a lot of Liberty alum, whether I saw Liberty basketball alum, Liberty baseball alum, obviously Liberty football alum, former coaches, general student alum, out there in Arizona. And it was so much fun. So many people come up and say hi and introduce themselves, and that's always a blast. And it, like I said, I've been fortunate to go to all 5 bowl games, and they're some of the best trips I've ever been on.
It is, and I love just getting to interact with people that I've never met before, people that I've only met on Twitter, people that I've met at a previous bowl game or at a Liberty game to link up with them again. And all those people that have said, you gave the chain to my dad. You're telling me my dad has the chain? He's downstairs. I got to go talk to him. I got sidetracked. So just so grateful of all the people that we talked to, and just say, hey, thank you so much for putting out this content. We enjoy listening to the podcast. For those who are listening right now, again, we always say thank you, but we truly mean it. Like, subscribe. It helps us out a bunch, whatever platform you're taking this all in on. But
we're getting close to 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
I think we're pushing 800. So help us get out to 1,000, and that makes us, apparently you can monetize it once you get to 1,000. I have no idea if that means we get a few pennies or what. But hey, help us out.
It costs $0. Zero. Zippity doo dah. Zero, and then turn off the notifications. Who cares? But it was so cool from people that I've never met, from players' parents that were like, yeah, we love to see a Red. We love listening to the podcast. The pep rally John mentioned, just such a great, just a quick opportunity for Flames fans to get together, kind of kick off the bowl week. And John mentioned there's so many events and so many stories that come from that. It's like a mini Super Bowl where there's events and activities that lead up to it, and then the game happens, and it's like, oh, that's right, I forgot the game. But as John mentioned, the hospitality of the people of the Fiesta Bowl were incredible. That tailgate that they had before the game was incredible. It was so cool. There were so many awesome people there. As John mentioned, that have been around the program for years. A great side story. I look down and I have a text from our boy Marsh, and he goes, yo, come over to lot 19, have a beverage. I went, I'm in. And I go over, and he's chopping it up with this kid, Zach, and his wife, Anna, that I used to hang with when I was a student, and I hadn't seen them since then. And we had no idea that we all knew each other. And it's like, it's stuff like that happens at bowl games, where we get opportunities to just come together and just bond over what we all have in common. And that is the support of Liberty football.
Richie, what would you say as you think back over it, and something that you can share on the airwaves? What would you say was your favorite moment, your highlight of the trip? Obviously, it wasn't the second quarter through the fourth quarter of the game, but what was your highlight of the trip?
So I'm gonna not include anything from the game. Obviously, the first quarter, electric. You never forget that. Boondocks, New Year's Eve. Absolute spectacle. There was a line out the door.
There's a line out the door both ways.
Both ways. And I don't know how we were able to make it happen, but pretty much if you walked into that bar and grill and just said Liberty Flames, and shout out to John and Dennis and you, John. Chad and Dennis and you, John, for being outside and taking care of that. But I had so many people coming up to me inside, former players that you've all heard of, in multiple sports, going like, thanks for putting this on. Like, we needed a night like that. Everyone just getting together, having a good time, getting ready for the game that was 8 hours down the line. But a lot of great connections were made, a lot of great conversation, and just a great opportunity to bond, as I said before, over something that we all have in common. No matter where we are in this country, where we are in our lives, we all have this one thing that links us all together, which is kind of the beauty of college football.
Yeah, that was one of the best things that I enjoyed when I got home and was able to kind of look back over some of the things. I didn't get to see Gabe Henderson in person. I didn't even know he was there. He's obviously working with the Minnesota Vikings, and
Mm.
so I didn't know he was going to be able to make it, but he was there, and I noticed that once I got home and saw some of his social media content from his trip out there, and you could just tell the joy like in him, just through the words that he was sharing and tweeting out and things. And it's so cool for me. I mean, that's a guy that I love to watch play back, when was that, 10, 15 years
Yeah.
ago? He was such a good player, a dynamic player, helped get us to the playoffs, that win over Coastal, number one Coastal.
Hmm.
On their field, he played amazing that day, and helped us into the playoffs. But just for him to be able to enjoy that moment, and again, I'm just using him as an example. There's so many that they were able to kind of bask in the glory of being in the Fiesta Bowl and being on that stage, Liberty football, and I really enjoy being able to, I'm glad guys like him were able to enjoy that. And there's others. I mean, we could sit here and go through the who's who
Yeah.
of Liberty football and talk about that, but that was really cool for me.
Well, it was. And one of the people that I got to see at the pep rally is one of the supporters of this podcast. He's on just about every week. We're not going to have him on this week, but we do have an ad for Mr. Jason Porter. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do, and it's actually one of the things JP talks about all the time is having a deep Rolodex of people he can contact if you need
Yes.
anything. Well, I needed him today. I reached out to him this morning, and JP came through for me. So yeah, we
As he
appreciate
always does.
we appreciate his support, and it was great to see him out in Arizona as well.
Yeah.
Well, hey, everybody. My name is Jason Porter. I'm with Legacy Realty and Development, and it's been a great partnership here with Sea of Red lately. I was with Liberty Athletics as the Associate Athletic Director for Sports Medicine, so took care of all of the healthcare needs and coordinated that with a fantastic staff at Liberty in the athletic department, of course, for about 5 or 6 years, and then moved into real estate full time and with Legacy Realty and Development. And it's just been a great pleasure to continue to stay connected with my Liberty University family and the athletics family as well. Been enjoying serving them. A lot of the graduate assistants and some of the staff that I hired has come back now and has been using me for residential services, which I really appreciate. But certainly do residential real estate as far as buying and selling of homes, of course. And then also we have a strong commercial presence as well. So commercial real estate, obviously a very, very different animal than is residential. But whether it's buying and selling commercial properties or just the leasing of properties, we can help with that as well. So it's been a great opportunity to service our commercial clients as well. And then certainly on the investment front too, a number of folks who have discovered the power of passive income through real estate and investing in real estate with rental properties or fix and flips, those kind of things. And so great joy to serve my clients in that capacity as well. The other thing that I would add too is just a very, very full Rolodex at this point of contractors and subs and just different professional contacts that I've made through the years. So if I can ever provide any of those folks to you and all of a sudden you need a plumber or an electrician or a contractor to build your deck, whatever, I'd certainly be glad to give you access to that Rolodex and those references as well. Because a lot of times it's not exactly who you know, it's who you know that knows how to do the job well. And so I would be glad to provide those services for you as well. So love Flames Nation, love taking care of my Liberty family. And if there's ever anything I can do for you, my contact information is all right here on the screen. And I would love to be a service to you and yours. Thanks so much.
Shout out Jason Porter, always the man. And we could sit here and we could talk about the pep rally, the Battle of the Bands, we could talk about Boondocks, shout out Joey Sandvig. But we got to talk about the game, right? Like, we can't just ignore the fact that the game happened. We'd be doing a disservice to ourselves. We'd be doing a disservice to all Flames Nation to not at least recognize that 4 quarters were played on New Year's Day. So we're going to welcome on our main man, CT, Christian Taylor, who gave us some great gambling advice throughout the entire season. I went back and I watched the first episode because I was trying to figure out. I know at some point I said Washington would be like the real deal. I was trying to find a clip. I couldn't find anything, so it might just be in my own head. But That's neither here nor there. So CT, welcome on. Not able to join us, was able to watch the game on TV. So definitely a different view than what John and I saw. So I'm going to kick it over to you. What were your thoughts on the game? What happened?
I mean, I think we have to start with the positive note and
first quarter.
First drive. Yeah, exactly. First quarter and the first drive. I mean, I was watching it with a few people, and that whole first drive, it was just like, oh, this is what we've done all season. Like, this is perfect. So this is working. Like, we're going to win this game, basically. And it felt great. It was really, really impressive to see them be able to move the ball down the field like they did with that option to Bedgood, the pass, the touchdown pass then to
Henshaw.
Yep, Finley Henshaw. And so on. That was really cool to see. And no matter what happened the rest of the game, which we'll talk about as well, like, I feel like we'll always have that, which is really awesome. I'm very curious as well to hear from you guys what the environment was like in the stadium on that first drive.
Sure. So, getting that touchdown, you talked about how impressed you were seeing that. And I was, but at the same time, I wasn't surprised that it happened. I thought that we'd be able to move the ball. I thought we'd be able to score some points. If you would have told me we scored 6, I would have been surprised about that, for a whole game. So I was a little surprised that we only got that one touchdown. So, but it really felt good to do that. What I was really impressed by and what really got me going was when we stopped them and held them to a field goal on that second drive. When we held them to that field goal on that second drive, I was sitting there thinking, uh-oh. Like, this might get real here in a minute. And the crowd, I was up in the press box, which was kind of in one corner and on the side that Liberty side was on, the bench and the fans. So, like, the pop of the fans, the noise from the fans was very noticeable to me. Like, not even at Williams Stadium do I experience that. And I think probably because it's more – the whole stadium getting into it rather than coming from one side, but the pop of it from Liberty fans in that first quarter, those first couple of big moments, that Bedgood run, the touchdown, stopping them for a field goal, those plays, those big pops of excitement from the fan base was a lot of fun to experience. And, so getting that stop there, then, obviously we didn't score again. But the next drive we didn't score, and then we stopped them 3 and out and forced a punt. And I was thinking, man, that's what I was concerned about. We wouldn't be able to stop them, which is what we saw from the second quarter on. But when we did that, I was like, we've got a real shot here. And so that was kind of where I was. What about from your vantage point, Richie?
I think in college football, when you have an opportunity to seize momentum, you have to take it because you may never get another opportunity to do so. We saw it last night in the national championship game when Washington was down 2 scores. They scored right at the end of the half, getting the ball. If Washington scores right there, it's a totally different ball game. They had an opportunity to take control of the game, and they didn't. We had an opportunity to take control of that game up 6-3. And we didn't. It didn't happen for whatever reason, and there were some calls that did not go our way. I've never been a big ref guy, but you sit there and go, yeah, a couple holds. That interception is what it is. We didn't lose the game because of refs. It is what it is. But refs can kill momentum, and momentum can determine a game.
How much do you guys think that the decision? And again, I hate to criticize Coach Chadwell or the team at all because look at us, right? We were in the Fiesta Bowl, 13-1. Kind of what happened in the game is what we expected. But in the moment, and even looking back, I feel like that 4th down when we had like 4th and 2, 4th and 3 near midfield, was it 6-3? Maybe we were down 10-6 at that point.
It was the second drive.
It was our second drive. Okay, so it was 6-3. We had the ball at midfield, and we decided to punt. Like, that just went in the face of everything we've done all season. It went in the face of everything that I had heard he had told the team about, we're going there to win this game leading up to the game. It went into the face of, winning the coin toss and electing to receive. It went, everything was so aggressive in the play calling and everything until that moment when we decided to punt. And again, I don't get paid the big bucks. I'm not a head football coach. You don't want me to be your head football coach, but I wonder how much that, again, I don't think we win the game, but I think if we go for it on fourth down there, maybe we get stopped and it ends up being 45-6 anyways. But I would have liked to have seen, let's keep playing with that momentum, keep playing aggressively and see what happened. But I think from there, everything flipped and the game just got out of hand and we kind of lost that edge.
Yeah, I mean, they immediately went after that punt, went 82 yards, scored the touchdown, take the lead, and obviously they never let go of that. But I was going to say the same thing, John. That definitely just shifted the momentum. I feel like, again, as you said, we aren't paid the big bucks. Like, I'm not going to criticize anything that they choose to do or anything like that. But it is something I would say overall, like, I would have loved to see that consistency of aggressiveness throughout the whole game. It's something, if you go back to the beginning of the season, not us, but that first Oregon-Washington game, Oregon went for it basically every fourth down they could. And it was like, okay, some of them worked, some of them didn't, but you were consistent. I'll respect that. And that's something I would have loved to see in the game. It didn't happen, and it's ultimately okay. But that was definitely frustrating. And to the refs' point, I mean, again, they definitely did not cause us to lose that game or anything like that. But just given some of those calls in the first half, and I really do think they were big momentum shifters between the interception, a couple of those holds, as we said. I honestly feel like, and call me crazy, I don't know, but I feel like it would have been more fair score going into halftime of like 24-17 or so, just based on what was happening on some of the drives and things like that. And from there, who knows what would have happened? But yeah, unfortunately, it didn't work out.
Yeah, and
real quick, John.
Ahead.
CT, welcome to Baltimore.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I see Mike's comment here about getting away from the triple option. I agree with that too. And another thing I thought was kind of interesting was Aaron Bedgood was so good for us those first couple of drives, and it seems like he was non-existent the rest of the game. So I'm not sure what happened there, but that was interesting. But all in all, I mean, good first quarter, and then we couldn't stop Oregon from there, and that was really what I thought was going to happen in the game. And I think they scored, 6 touchdowns on 6 straight offensive possessions. And when they did that, it was, again, I kind of expected that to happen. We couldn't score. We couldn't keep up with them and their scores. We didn't get any turnovers. We had the turnovers ourselves. And then obviously the penalties helped or hurt us as well too. So I kind of got out of our hands, but hey, great season, right? We had a great season, 13-0 going into that game, and 13-1 Fiesta Bowl, finished ranked number 25 in the top 25 poll, only second time in program history. So great season.
Which is preposterous because we were 18 last poll, correct?
18, yep.
Mm-hmm.
How does a loss to Oregon drop us 7 spots and SMU loses by 2 scores to Boston College? I'm not knocking Boston College, where my best friends went to BC. They dropped 3. Like, that's a bit excessive. It's neither here nor there. It doesn't matter. But the fact that we ended the season ranked is huge.
Yes, and with SMU, even a bit more perspective, they lost by 2 touchdowns to a team that's pretty middle to bottom of the road of their conference next year. So like that was definitely jarring, but
and I hate to talk about it so much because it doesn't really matter, but I see a lot of people talking about SMU and the strength of schedule is why they're ranked higher. Well, they had a loss to Boston College by 2 touchdowns, who was 7-6, very kind of mediocre ACC team. They lost to a non-bowl eligible team in TCU, and then they lost to Oklahoma, which, that's a fine loss. But who did they beat? They didn't beat anybody. They beat Tulane, which what is Tulane? Like, Tulane didn't beat anybody. We can say the same thing about them. So I think the AAC was overrated all season. This is what we were saying going into, that selection Sunday and stuff. And again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I feel like the AAC was propped up when they didn't need to be all year. And I think bowl season kind of proved that. But great season. I think we should recap it a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to go back to see what our takes were. I know when we were given that, hey, make your game by game prediction. I went, we're going to lose to Buffalo and Western Kentucky. what an idiot I am, right? Like,
I actually thought we might lose to New Mexico State game 2.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't know what we had. We didn't know who our quarterback was going to be. We didn't know what we had. And then Brendan goes down, Schlittler to injury in the preseason. You lose 2 of your top receivers. And, we look now at Caden and CJ as these great alpha dogs, but they weren't then. I mean, CJ Daniels, again, I think he's one of the top receivers in the country. We can talk about the transfer portal later on tonight, but coming into the year, like he hadn't done anything. Like you might have had a game here or there, but he hadn't done anything. So there's a lot of question marks there. We had an entire new running back core. Like, we talk about Quentin Cooley being a household name now, but a year ago, like, we're like, who is this kid? Like, we thought Vaughn Blue was going to be our top running back coming out of spring practice
as a freshman,
as a true freshman. So that goes to show you what we thought we had at running back. And then, of course, Caden ended up winning the job, but we didn't really know that officially until an hour before kickoff against Bowling Green. So for us to navigate that, for the coaching staff, Coach Chadwell and his staff to navigate that transfer portal twice last year, leading into the 23 season, to restock this roster, man, what a tremendous job. How do they not get, I've seen they gotten some Coach of the Year awards and stuff, Coach Chadwell has. How do they not get a Coach of the Year award? Just what they did with restocking this roster and to be able to go undefeated, win every game, each and every. We can talk about the schedule all you want to, but to be able to pull out a win over Sam Houston, we can go back and look at that. It's like, that I was sweating that one. We were all sweating that one. We talk about that a lot.
Play of the year.
But yeah, I mean, it was amazing. Yeah, that Kobe Singleton PBU. But what a great job they did. Great job by the players buying into what happened. And it was a good run.
Yeah, not many first year head coaches come in and have the success that Coach Chadwell did. And also shout out Coach Chadwell. Birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Coach. The big 3'9". Happy birthday, Coach.
3'9". He can't be 3'9".
You always undersell it, John.
Okay, I got you.
In a couple of years, you'd get on the good side. We knocked the fourth down call earlier, so I got to come back with you're a couple of years younger than what you said you are. Do we have a Leesville ad?
Oh, we certainly do. You had a Leesburg experience.
Leesburg
T-shirt. I saw it in Arizona.
I was wearing a Leesburg T-shirt, and if I'm lying, I'm dying right now. We're at the Barstool Bar watching football on Sunday, and someone walks up to me who watches the podcast and goes, "Is that a Leesburg, Florida shirt? Did they send that to you?" I went, "Kind of," and we talked about Leesburg for a good 5 to 10 minutes, and it was great. I love getting to share my beliefs about Leesburg. I'm going to Florida next week. I'm going to be in Disney from Tuesday to Sunday, drinking around the world on Wednesday. So be on the lookout on Twitter, because I don't know what's going to happen. If for some reason I get displaced from Orlando, I'm hopping an Uber straight to Leesburg. Not a doubt. Roll the tape.
It's real Florida. It's old Florida, and it's close to all of the Central Florida attractions, crystal clear natural springs, and one of the largest chain of lakes. The beautiful lakefront city of Leesburg offers the best in outdoor adventures, fishing, and quaint shops and restaurants on historic downtown Main Street. Come visit and see how welcoming a hometown city feels. Experience Leesburg the way Florida is meant to be.
Leesburg. So the game ends, we all depart, and we wait. And for those who don't know, the transfer portal rules are different for teams that play in a New Year's Six or playoff game. The portal closed originally, I think, the day after January 2nd. However, because we played a New Year's Six Bowl, it closes yesterday.
Monday? It was Monday. Yep.
It closed Monday. So any player that was going to to declare that they were entering the portal. And again, you can enter the portal and come back. So any player had to enter the portal for yesterday. So the game ended, and we waited. And I was on a plane heading back to New Jersey, and I didn't have Wi-Fi because I was flying Spirit and I didn't want to pay $18. And I had my Nintendo Switch, and I had a movie on my iPad, and I had my sleep mask. And we landed, and I opened up my phone, and I had a lot of text messages. And I went, this is either really good or really bad. There's news. And sure enough, the news was that QB1 Caden Salter had entered the portal. John, you want to take it from there?
Yeah, so I had the red eye New Year's Day night, and I landed in Baltimore. Saw CT bright and early, 5 a.m. or whatever it was in Baltimore on January 2nd, I guess it was. And then we had to drive to Lynchburg. So and that was a rough drive home, those 3 to 4 hours. But pulled into the driveway, I don't know, 10, 11 a.m. and immediately crashed. I didn't even unpack the car or anything, just crashed. And next thing you know, kind of similar to Richie, but I woke up a little bit before the news broke, and my phone was blowing up as well, and heard of what was happening, and was like, okay, well, buckle up, here we go. There is no off season in Division I college football, so yeah, I mean, Caden entered the portal, and at that point in time, it's just like mayhem. Like, I can't believe this happened. We had thought about it, but so much going through the years. So again, we got to back up a little bit. So, December 1st, you had to, if you were going to transfer, this would be his second transfer. You were going to have to sit out a year unless you graduate.
Wait until you graduate. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, based on what we've heard and what I think is still the case is he's on track to graduate in May. So it's like, okay, we're good at least until May. Maybe he goes in the portal in May and does a grad transfer. And if so, we'll figure it out then. But in December, midway between, our conference championship win over New Mexico State and the Fiesta Bowl, the NCAA, it gets brought up in court cases and whatnot. Anyways, that rule is now gone. 2-time transfer doesn't matter. You can transfer and not sit out, no penalty. So that immediately changed our entire roster. We got a lot of players, not just Caden, but a lot of guys on the roster that have already transferred once. Look back to replacing 50% of your roster a year ago. A lot of that was through the portal. So when he went in, you're sitting there thinking, oh man, this could open the floodgates and who's to follow, it could end up being everybody. And fortunately, I know our guy, producer 3000, who's not with us tonight, has a lot of good stories he could tell one day about those few days, those few hours. But fortunately, what was it, a day or two later, we first get the word from, run it back. Quentin Cooley was the first one to kind of say, hey, I'm not going anywhere. He could have, a lot of these guys, you talk about tampering and all that stuff. And I don't want to throw out any accusations, but I have heard there has been tampering going on throughout the season. And a lot of the guys that decided to, quote unquote, run it back were guys that I'd heard had been tampered with, and other schools were coming after them and wanting them. But Quentin Cooley said, nope, let's run it back. And from there, it snowballed and just about everybody said, hey, we're going to run it back. Caden, within 2 or 3 days of entering the portal, did a 180 and said, nope, I'm coming back. I'm staying at Liberty. And obviously with him back, and, we'll talk about CJ Daniels as well too, but with Caden back, the sky's the limit in 2024, right? I mean, if he stays healthy, you can't predict another undefeated season, but we should be right there in Conference USA chase. And if you win that, you're in the ball game for a CFP bid.
And a lot of college football pundits are already putting out there way too early top 25, and Liberty's been there every single poll. Sometimes it's a 25, fine, you're there. And
That's
starting
just
the
being
season
at 25
ranked
is massive.
Yeah, we've talked about that so much. Mentioned it 6-7 weeks ago. Hey, just finishing the season strong, so that way we start next year ranked. is going to be so massive, because once you're already ranked, it's so much easier to stay there rather than jumping the whatever you want to call it to get in there. But listen, the transfer portal is what it is. It's part of college football. It's part of the way this game works now. And every single one of us here now watching goes out and sees, hey, what other jobs are out there? Go out on a job interview. We've all been there. I've been there. I went back to my job. So it's part of the way, like, don't knock a college kid. So no matter what happens with anything or what anyone has done, like, just understand that, like, they're kids with opportunities out there, and I get it. And I'm so thankful that Caden and so many other players not only produced this year and were contributors to their season, that they decided that they're so on board with what Coach Chadwell is doing, with what so many people involved, both within the program and outside of the program, are doing, that they want to be involved with this. And it's a large part because of the fans. So there's my rant. It was just a classic Michael Scott. I'm going to start it, and I don't know where I'm going to end it, but I'm grateful for all the players and any player that does leave. Kobe Singleton going to play at Oregon State. Good for him. Thank you for an incredible season. We're not playing in the Fiesta Bowl if it's not for him. And I'm not going to ever forget that for happening. So shout out to the players. You do decide to transfer. Thank you for what you did. It happens everywhere. Duke just lost their starting quarterback to Notre Dame. It's an ACC school. USC lost their backup that was supposed to come in, gone. Texas lost the backup that was over Arch. It was a heartbeat away, left before the playoffs. So, like, this is not just a Liberty thing. So people are like, oh, Liberty. No. This happens all around college football. Mm-hmm. And it is what it is. And I trust our coaching staff to navigate this entire transfer portal, both this year and beyond, successfully. And I'm excited about that. So, CT, go ahead. I've rambled on long enough.
No, you're good. And I think just one more thing to add to it, like talking about them just being college kids and stuff like that. Some of them, this isn't the case for all of them, but some of these guys, like, they might not have a future in the NFL or anything like that. Yeah. And so in this day and age, going into the portal is an opportunity for them to get potentially one of the biggest checks of their life. So, I mean, by all means, as a fan, it can be frustrating. But at the same time, if you put yourself in their shoes, like, absolutely, you would be checking out what those opportunities are for yourself. So I think what we have is great. Obviously, with Caden coming back, that's amazing. We have so much depth on this team, I really believe, and we saw that this year. So even in the positions where guys left, like, who knows who's going to be there? Because so many of the breakout guys on the roster this year were there on the roster last year, and they got elevated because of guys leaving the portal, and then they showed off. So I think we're really still in an awesome spot. And then just to back it up a little bit farther, back to that top 25 thing, just to emphasize how important it is. Like, let's talk about Tulane one more time. Like, their team that we know they were not that great, but they started off in the top 25 because of their season past. And once that happened, it was, if they did not lose that championship game, we would not be in the Fiesta Bowl.
No.
And we were clearly better than that. So being in that top 25, I mean, who knows what our year next year could look like? Maybe it's a 10-2 kind of year or something like that. And maybe we still get a nod over a team that didn't start off in the top 25 just because of that. So if we are able to make it there, it'll be a massive edge to start the season.
Yeah, we'll talk about 2024 a little bit more really early, way too early preview here in a minute. But one thing I will say is you talk about, the portal and all that sort of stuff. One thing I'll say is we're in a lot better position today than we were a year ago. I mean, it's not even close, especially with Caden back. And you could probably say that even if Caden wasn't coming back, but with him back in the fold, 100%, in a better situation. We return, you know, something like 70 some odd % of our top, not just our roster, our top production. You know, there's a few guys that went in the portal, or a few guys that lost their eligibility. But one thing we got to say, shout out Flames Rising Collective. You guys are both rocking the hats. Thank you to everyone who has helped us, supported the Flames Rising Collective over the past few weeks, past few days, past year plus. You know, it goes a big way. And if we didn't have a collective, I don't know if we would be keeping Caden today. If we didn't have a collective, I don't know if we would have an opportunity to keep CJ Daniels. We're still waiting to hear what his move is. He was obviously, I think everybody knows now, this past weekend he took trips to Auburn, Florida, and Texas, and it sounds like he's deciding between one of those or possibly coming back to Liberty, which even saying that sentence is crazy. It's insane, but we'll see. But shout out Flames Rising Collective. We have hit over the 71 monthly subscribers. We also have others that have joined, you know, on an annual basis. But 71 monthly that are locked in and active. Awesome. Thank you. You can still go out there and join us for as low as $10 a month. And it helps keep players. And it's not just football. It's all sports. All sports at Liberty.
And I just want to say, I take a look at what other NIL collectives are doing. And a lot of the times they're $10 a month, and that's what our minimum is for Flames Rising, $10 a month. You get an opportunity to jump on a video call with an athlete. You get thank you card from an athlete. You get Chad's running ticket giveaways all the time. Like, hey, who wants courtside seats to the basketball game? Who wants ice? Who wants board side, whatever it is, right on the ice for hockey games? Like $10 a month at most collectives, you get nothing. But we really want to get the athletes involved and get the fans connected and get those opportunities. And then, you know, those benefits only go up $25 a month, $50 a month, where you're hopping on. We've had opportunities to jump in calls with Caden, calls with Kyle Rode. We did an insider meeting with John Manson where we chatted with some of our $50 a month donors and John, just talking about just stuff about schedules and
AMA, ask me
transfer
anything.
portal. Yeah. Ask John whatever. Like, so, you know, reach out if you have any questions, because it really is the avenue to support the athletes. 100% of the money is going directly to them. And there's not many collectives out there that can say that. So
sure. Yeah, and if you have any questions, like Richie's saying, reach out to us. We're happy to answer those. And none of us on this call, Chad himself, make $1 through the collective. No. We're all, you know, donating our time even just to give back to the university. And you know, it's one way we can all help keep some of these guys around. That's really what we've used it for to this point, is to retain athletes. It hasn't gotten to the recruiting of athletes much. But mainly retention. But anyways, let's play this ad, and let's talk some 2024 Liberty football.
Let's do it.
Hey, Flames Nation, this is Kyle Rode.
This is Rachel Root.
This is Kaden Salter.
We would just want to say thank you for supporting athletes like us through the Flames Rising Collective.
The Flames Rising Collective is a registered 501c3, providing opportunities for student athletes to use their name, image, and likeness while serving our local community.
100% of everything contributed to the collective will go directly to creating name, image, and likeness opportunities for Liberty student athletes.
Help us be champions for Christ and champions on the field. Flames.
That's so much better with Caden back in the fold, right?
I know we would not be playing that ad if Caden were here. But we're gonna bring in our next guest, Lil Nas X, newest Liberty student. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm like, wait, Richie, where are we going with this?
No. So 2024, it's gonna sneak up on us. I think there was a bit of buzz. Swag shop, 100%. We are always.
It's on the way. We're working on it. So stay tuned, Ray.
Yeah, we want everyone to be able to rock Caden Salter jersey tee, Quentin Cooley jersey tee. Like, that's where it's at. And in years past, you know, if you ever watched the Johnny Manziel doc, not to keep talking NIL, but he's like, I sat in a stadium where there were 70,000 people wearing my jersey and I didn't see a dime. And whether or not you agree with NIL or all that, that's ridiculous. Like, let's hook these guys up. They're giving us so much time and their energy and their effort, and they allowed us this opportunity to go to a Fiesta Bowl. But that's neither here nor there. But no, absolutely. 2024, it's going to sneak up. A year ago, we had so many questions. We got this brand new coach. Where are the quarterbacks going to be? It's a lot more questions already. Now I think it's a question of how high do we want to set the expectations for next year, because this year was pretty great.
No, it was a great year, and it's kind of like, it's funny, you hear Coach Chadwell joke about it, and he's joking, but I think he's also being honest. Is maybe I won too much in my first year because as I think about it, and I said it earlier, it's hard to predict an undefeated season, but that's what the predictions are going to be. There's going to be people out there saying this team should go undefeated. There's going to be a good percentage of the Liberty fan base saying that. We should go undefeated. I mean, the schedule will be better. It's not going to be a top 100 schedule. It's still going to be 100 plus, and some of that is out of our control based on how the teams do that are on the schedule. But we're playing, App State and East Carolina. We get East Carolina at home and playing in Boone at App. Those games replace the 2 MAC games we had, so that's an upgrade. But it's still you got to get back to a CFP, or get to a CFP, but to a New Year's Six Bowl basically is what I'm saying. By getting back to it, you have to, if you go undefeated, you're going to be there. If you lose one game, you probably be in the conversation. 2 games, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, it starts with this offense. I mean, this offense, the number 1 rushing offense in the country in 2023. We return 3 of 5 starting offensive linemen, 4 of the top 6 that played. We had Aaron Fenimore, who I think will slide in, right in, and we won't miss a beat there with him. So I feel good about our offensive line. We probably need one more depth piece to feel comfortable there, but we're good there. Running back, everybody's back.
Mm-hmm.
You got Quentin Cooley, Vaughn Blue, Aaron Bedgood, whether you call him a receiver or a running back, Billy Lucas, James Jointer. So we're loaded there. Obviously, Caden, it starts and ends there. But then, receivers, I think you got to remember, we get Reese Smith back. We get Victor Jones back off injury.
Nebraska, West Virginia transfers.
Yep. So I'm feeling good there. So Dante Lee, I'm hearing a lot of good things about Dante Lee. He is committed, transfer guy. Through the portal. He's got 3 years of eligibility left. He was a Division II All-American at Shaw, and he's coming in, had offers from all sorts of schools. He decommitted but recommitted. That was a lot due to the Salter situation, which is understandable. But he should be a dynamic playmaker at receiver as well too. So the question marks come with the defense. How good can the defense be? And can we offset some of those losses that we've had in the portal already on that side of the ball? And but that's been one area of emphasis. So that's the biggest key, is that defense.
And I would just say as well, I mean, looking at our non-conference for next year right now, even outside of the players, if we want to talk about the schedule some, obviously we'll have the conference games, but we'll probably feel like, we could lose one or something. We'll have to see what the rest of the conference does. And the soft season as well. But looking at the non-con, we have Campbell, which we'll count that as a win. East Carolina, who they've been good in the past, but after they lost their quarterback this past year, they definitely fell off. I mean, they are a name that could start bringing in better players and stuff, but until we see that, you have to assume, okay, we can count that one as a win. And then at UMass. And then finally, the big one, September 28th at App State, which is going to be an amazing game. I think everybody, if you're watching, go ahead and try to start figuring out how can you get to Boone on September 28th, because that's going to be an amazing game. But looking at all that, I agree. Like, we're going to get projections that we could be undefeated. We might be 1 loss, things like that. And I think that's reasonable. It'll be tough to be able to live up to that 2 years in a row, but it's definitely possible. But I don't think we should see this year as the exception. I don't think we should see next year as we have 0 chance at making the playoffs or anything like that. There was people that said this year on Twitter, we know some of them well, that Liberty had 0% chance of making the New Year's Six game, and look what happened. So for anybody trying to say that, no, there's no chance next year or anything like that, one, the playoffs bigger. Two, there could even be 2 group of 5 spots, depending if we get lucky, depending on what the NCAA rules. And 3, this team is just going to stay consistent. This is now the baseline for this team.
Yeah, I mean, the way it's constructed today, which can change in a moment's notice. We know the NCAA changes rules, but the top 2 G5 champions would make the playoffs. And in the 6+6 model, you might see that phrase thrown out there. They're talking about changing it to the 5+7. That would be 5 auto bids and 7 at-larges. So the more auto bids, the better, because the chances of Liberty getting an at-large that's close to 0%. But yeah, I mean, Liberty's certainly right there in the mix, and again, the good thing is we're not going to have to make up so much ground this year. That was our biggest problem, for 2023 is we came from the bottom. You started from the bottom and we made it, right? But we had so much ground to make up, and we had to have a lot of help, a ton of help, even going undefeated. Whereas this year, our name's already out there. We're not going to start ranked 100th plus. We're going to be, maybe not top 25, but certainly in the others receiving votes to start the season. We're going to be on the playoff committee's radar. So if we go undefeated, we're a lock. If we lose a game or 2, we'll see. But it all comes down. You start with winning the conference. You have to win the conference championship, and it'll be interesting to see how some of these teams look next year. I think Jacksonville State's probably going into the year is probably our biggest competition with Rich Rod back and some of their players there. But New Mexico State's going to be remade with a new coaching staff and a new quarterback. It looked like a lot of question marks there. They could still be good. Western Kentucky would expect to have some talent. I think Sam Houston will be better too, but you got to start with winning the conference championship. But today it feels good, looks good. It's a long way to go till September rolls around, but it'll be here before you know it. Make sure you get your season tickets, get your tickets to the road game. If you can get to Boone, that'll be a fun trip to make.
Yeah. Dad, get out. Like,
we want to pop a long shot appearance.
Yeah, he just walked in.
Bring him on the show.
Yeah.
Dad, come back in. Dad, come back in.
This is a celebration show, right?
Yeah, he walks in. He walks in like waving a Salter t-shirt. No, come in. Come on. Come all the way in.
Make sure he knows you're live.
On the camera. We're live, by the way. But I hear like a noise outside of. Come on.
I could hear myself talking.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, there's an echo going on all the way in.
John.
Papa Long Shots, what's going on? He's got the 7.
He's got the Salter 7.
Let's go. Let's go.
I'm thinking, well, I'm like, who's outside of my room right now that I can hear? And then I realize, oh, that's my dad who's watching on his phone. Mike Schlitler says hi, by the way. All right, train of thought's completely gone. We're flying off the rails, which makes sense. We're an hour in. What's next? We're gonna do monthly shows, maybe.
Yeah. I guess that's the next thing. It's been a great season. Thank you, Richie. Thank you, CT. Thank you, Producer 3000, who left us high and dry tonight. But thank you, everybody who's been following along all season. It's been a lot of fun. It's our first time with Richie and myself as co-hosts. First time with CT on each week in his spot, and we got the basketball show. Make sure you stay tuned for that.
Yes.
Thursday night, I'm going to be on there as one of the co-hosts moving forward the rest of the season. So Thursday night, tune in for that basketball show. We're going to keep that going weekly through the rest of the season. We're also going to have a baseball show. This is breaking news. So we're going to carry the podcast into baseball season. I will be on there. Who will be joining me is still we figured it out, but we'll announce it later. So once basketball season over, we're going to roll into a baseball show and plan on doing that weekly as well too. And then we're going to keep going in through the summer. Not going to be weekly, but certainly at least monthly, and maybe a bi-monthly type show. But we're going to keep it going. This is the podcast. Thanks to you all's support and to the help of some of the guys that are joining me here on the screen. We're planning on doing this year round.
Well, John, none of this would exist without you. And we say it all the time, but when you started a Sea of Red, 12, 13 years ago, it set the groundwork for all this now. And to see how much it's grown from just not just a blog with the form and to what it is now is completely insane. And it's an honor. I don't want to speak for CT, but to be a part of this it's insane to me. And being at Boondocks, talking to Mike Brown and taking pictures with Rashad Jennings, like, what is my life right now? Like, what is happening? How did this all, like, I was watching them just from the stands and it is what it is. But CT, any last closing thoughts?
No, I mean, I'll just echo everything that you said. So, John, like, thanks for all the opportunities that you've given us, but thanks for all that you've done for Liberty and just supporting the teams for all these years. So nothing, as Richie said, would be possible without you. So I think next thing for Sea Red is getting that 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Like you said,
help us out. Help us out.
Like, it's free. It's free. And while you're doing that, Liberty Twitter Bracket Challenge. Next Monday, we're going to start throwing out tweets. We're looking for categories. Whether we're going to do best tweeter, funniest tweet, all that stuff. Give us some categories. Start to think of awards that you think people deserve. Once we get through that whole stage, then we're going to take nominations. We're going to have a committee, and we're going to do an awards show. We're going to have like a Liberty Twitter awards show night. It's going to fly off the rails. I can already see it coming. God knows what's going to happen. Things get weird when we just do a little bracket. Imagine when we have 10 to 12 awards and people politicking to win all of that. So, as always, thank you so much for tuning in. So appreciative of everyone following along, all the people that reached out to us at the bowl game. They're like, oh, love the podcast. Thank you guys for what you do. It truly means a lot. So, as always, stay hydrated, stay blessed, stay fly. We'll see you when we see you.